Welcome to Spectrum News at 10. I am Emedion James coming to you live from Uyo. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Federal government plans to achieve 90% digital literacy by 2030. Governor Moino calls for unity amongst citizens as Akpabio celebrates 38th anniversary. Plus, UK warns Israel not to retaliate against Palestinian statehood push. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in just a moment. Many thanks for staying tuned. Our first report this morning is that the federal government has announced its plans to achieve 95% digital literacy among Nigerians by 2030, with a specific target of training and empowering at least 30 million citizens by 2027. The Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Natasha'S Abdullahi, represented by the Agency Director of Stakeholder Management, Aristotle Onomo, made this known in Abuja at the grand finale of the Tech for Deaf Digital for All Challenge 2.0. Abdullahi explained that NITDA is driving the initiative through strategic partnerships, particularly with the National Youth Service Corps and educational institutions across the country. Highlighting the role of NYSC, Abdullahi noted that the agency trains corps members as digital literacy champions who are deployed nationwide. He further revealed that NITDA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, has successfully integrated digital literacy into the national curriculum at all levels of education. On judicial matters, the trial of Kogi Central Senator Natasha'S on alleged cybercrime against the President of the Senate, Akpabio, and former Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, will commence today at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The trial on a 6-count criminal charge is being coordinated by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, the Minister of Justice and Minister of Justice. Recall that Natasha, who was suspended from the Senate 6 months ago over alleged breach of Senate rules, was arraigned in court on June 30, 2025, when charges were read to her and she pleaded not guilty. The Senate President had, in a petition to the Inspector General of Police, complained about damages allegedly done to his reputation by Natasha on the accusation that he planned to assassinate her in Kogi State. Meanwhile, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kudirat Kukerekun, will on Monday, September 29, swear in 57 new senior advocates of Nigeria as part of programs lined up to formally herald the 2025/2026 legal year of the court. The occasion is billed to hold at the main courtroom of the Apex Court. A statement by the Court Director of Information and Public Relations, Dr. Festus Akande, confirmed this in Abuja. According to report, during the special court session, The Chief Justice of Nigeria will deliver a State of the Judiciary address. Other leading stakeholders in the justice sector will present speeches bordering on the state of the sector. Recall that the Supreme Court commenced its annual vacation after a remarkable successful 2024/2025 legal year on Monday, 21st July 2025. On security matters, the Nigerian Army has denied allegations that its troops harassed or intimidated residents of communities in Cross River State involved in a land dispute. A statement released by the 82 Division said, reports accusing troops of the 245 Battalion of intimidation were false, misleading, and clearly aimed at discrediting the efforts of the troops working tirelessly to maintain peace in the area. The division explained that soldiers were deployed in Ikom and Obubra local government areas strictly for internal security operations to protect lives, safeguard critical infrastructure, and ensure the peaceful environment. Reports say that the troops of 245 battalions are currently deployed in the general area for internal security operations. The Army confirmed that troops responded swiftly on September 19, 2025 to renewed clashes between LC and Okohon communities to prevent escalation and restore normalcy. Away from that, the immediate past River State Administrator, Vice Admiral Iboite Ibas, retired, has rejected the River State House of Assembly's decision to prop the state's expenditure over the last few months under his leadership. Ibas ceased to be the administrator of the oil-rich state on September 17, following the end of the 6-month emergency rule, after President Bola Tinubu directed the suspended state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and the State House of Assembly members to return to office. The River State House of Assembly, presided over by the Speaker, Martins Amawule, during its first plenary after the end of the emergency rule, said it would investigate the state expenditure during the 6 months of emergency rule. Reacting to the House of Assembly's move to prop expenditure under his tenure, Ibas said the lawmakers lacked the power to investigate him, pointing out that they did not appoint him as administrator of the state. In a separate development, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has predicted rainy and thundery weather conditions from today to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released in Abuja envisaged isolated thunderstorms today, with light rains over parts of Adamawa and Taraba during the morning hours in the northern region. It envisaged isolated thunderstorms with light rains over parts of Kaduna, Gombe, Kebbi, Zamfara, Adamawa, Bauchi, Southern Borno, and Taraba later in the day. According to NIMET, a cloudy atmosphere with sunshine intervals is anticipated over the southern region. It also predicted prospect of isolated thunderstorms with light rains over parts of Ebonyi, Abia, Imo, Lagos, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, and Akpabio during the morning hours. The agency, however, anticipated thunderstorms with moderate rains over most parts of the region later in the day. We move down to Akpabio State, where Akpabio State's Governor, Moino, has emphasized the importance of sustained unity and collective effort among citizens and presidents in driving the progress and growth of the state. Speaking at a special interdenominational Thanksgiving service to mark the 38th anniversary of the state's creation, held at the International Christian Worship Center, Uyo, the governor urged the people to forgive one another and ensure a necessary acrimony capable of truncating the peace and unity of the state. The governor, while commending the great sense of unity, maturity and understanding shown by the leadership of the various political parties in the state, appreciated the guest speaker, Archbishop Song, for his impactful message. The governor also took out time to celebrate and pray for the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, on her 65th birthday and commended her for her support and mentorship of his daughter. The Coordinator Office of the First Lady, Lady Helen Eno, in its goodwill message on behalf of the former governor of the state, retired Colonel Yakubu Baku, felicitated the state on her 38th anniversary, saying Akwa Ibom is one of the few states that have established continuity in leadership and commended Governor Eno for maintaining same. Speaking on behalf of women, the state deputy governor, Senator Akonoyayin, said they were delighted with the inclusive leadership of the governor and assured that just as the women in the Bible stood with Jesus to the end, the women of Akwa Ibom State will support him till the end of his administration in 2031. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, Senator Ekong Samson, said the full presence of National Assembly members underscored the partnership between the National Assembly and the state government, stressing that it will continue to maintain the partnership to ensure that Akwa Ibom will continue to move forward. Others who spoke included the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Elder Udeme Otong, Minister of State for Petroleum, Obong Emem Ekberekbe Ekbo, Chief Judge of the State, represented by Justice Winifred Omondi, and Prelate Isaiah Isong, who in glowing terms applauded the giant strides of the Moiners-led administration. Government House correspondent Jen Owa reported that in his homily, the guest speaker, Archbishop Song, who is also the National Vice President of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, South-South, preached on the theme, "Behold how good and how pleasant," taken from Psalm 113 from verse 1 to 3, said, Akwa Ibom is matured enough at 38 years to arise to the faith of greatness. Africa, where vote counting is underway in some polling stations in Guinea in the referendum on a draft constitution that could allow the leader of the country's junta to run for the presidency. The referendum, which is a key step in the country's transition from military to civilian rule, is being closely monitored in the battered region, with critics calling it a power grab. Reports say there are 6.7 million eligible voters and the referendum needs a turnout of at least 50% to pass the referendum. The referendum was organized by the Directorate General of Elections, a new body that will oversee the vote. Count elections are expected to follow in December. Still in Africa, Ebola vaccination has begun in the affected region of southern Congo. The World Health Organization Africa's Program Officer, Dr. Patrick Otim, said more than 500 healthcare workers and contacts have received their vaccination. He said 760 doses have already been delivered to Bulapa, the locality at the center of the outbreak, while another 45,000 doses are expected to arrive soon in Kinshasa to reinforce the campaign. Recall that a fresh Ebola outbreak was announced by Congolese authorities on September 5th in the locality of Bulapa in Kassia, a south-central region in Congo close to Angola. On the foreign scene, Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper says she has warned Israel not to annex part of the West Bank in retaliations for the UK's recognition of Palestinian statehood. Cooper made this known to journalists today before attending a conference at the UN in New York, where France and other European states are due to make a similar announcement. Recall that Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced yesterday the UK's recognition of a Palestinian state alongside Canada, Australia and Portugal. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, however, condemned the moves, saying they give a huge reward to terrorism. Still on the foreign scene, France President Emmanuel Macron says planned recognition of a Palestinian state would not include the opening of an embassy until Hamas frees the hostages it is holding in Gaza. The decision was aired as Britain, Australia and Canada has recognized the Palestinian state in a coordinated seismic shift from decades of Western foreign policy. According to report, the move has triggered swift anger from Israel, which finds itself under huge international pressure over its war. Still to come in the news. Martin Lenley's late goal rescues Arsenal in 1-1 draw with Manchester City.
Respected. We are Spectrum Television and broadening your respected. We are Spectrum Television and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 125